Welcome back to the news at 9.
Yes, welcome back. Now, Nikki, the conclusion of the Cholgam rally is not the only major event taking place today. In fact, today is Deepavali, the Hindu festival of lights.
Let's now take a look at the significance this festival holds for Hindus the world over.
Deepavali is a celebration of the Hindu god Vishnu's defeat of Naragasuran. Vedic literature makes note of a request made by Nagasuran of Lord Vishnu, where he is said to have asked the god to allow the whole world to see the light as he had seen the light. Hindus across the globe light lamps to celebrate this holy day and pray that the light finds its way into the minds of all of humanity. Another ritual observed on Deepavali is the lighting of several lamps to celebrate the victory of good over evil. Hindus customarily visit the Kovil on Deepavali and pray for family members who are no longer with them. The holiday is also well known in Sri Lanka and the world over for the assortment of sweetmeats prepared for the celebration.
Now, issuing a message to mark the festival, President Mahinda Rajapaksa notes that Deepavali symbolizes shedding the light of knowledge over the darkness of ignorance, leading to the triumph of good over evil.
In his message, President Mahinda Rajapaksa noted that Deepavali is a celebration of the great spiritual values of Hinduism that transcends human practices, full of the material values of the world. The President adds that Deepavali is an occasion for Hindus to strive for greater spirituality that fosters understanding among communities, increased harmony and sheds differences in the new spirit of reconciliation following the end of the three-decade war. President Rajapaksa hopes that the Festival of Lights brings understanding, peace and joy among followers of Hinduism. Also issuing a message to mark Deepavali, Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne called on all Hindus to light the lamp of wisdom, extinguishing the lamp of folly to contribute to build peace and prosperity. The Premier hopes that the entire Hindu community will be able to enter into the path of mutuality through the light of wisdom in order to gain peaceful pleasure during this Deepavali season. Leader of the JVP, Somavangsha Amarasinghe, states that the Deepavali festival celebrates the triumph of peace, adding that Hindu devotees that celebrate the festival wish for light and prosperity. He, however, questions whether the masses have received light, peace and prosperity and calls on the public to defeat enemies that revolve around us in various forms and win light, peace and prosperity.
The Ittapana Unit Office of the Department of Irrigation in the Kaluthara district was declared open last evening by President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The aim of establishing the office is to raise the productivity levels of over 2,500 acres of unused land located on the west bank of the Bentara River. According to the Presidential Media Unit, this project commenced after the issue of seawater seeping into farmlands in the Valalavita area was highlighted at the Kaluthara District Development Committee meeting held last year under the auspices of the President. The newly established office aims to ensure that over 80% of cultivatable land, which is currently not in use, is utilized for farming activities.
You're watching Primetime News on News First, and up next is Action TV.
Lands in the Mahavali B zone, which have been cultivated continuously on permits issued about 26 years ago, are being resurveyed at present. The body of a farmer from the Madagama settlement in Aralagangvila was discovered last night near the new boundary line of his paddy field. While expressing suspicions that the death was a case of suicide, members of the aggrieved family note that the farmer in question had revealed the reasons which would cause his suicide beforehand.
My brother said that if the matter isn't resolved, he will commit suicide. I told him don't do that we will talk to the relevant authorities and sort out the matter. He said he went to the authorities but they didn't care and that he does not want to fight. He is only human. I didn't think he would commit suicide.
If this farmer, a father of two who was residing in a half-built house, felt that he would not be able to bear the loss of land that would cause him to lose a bushel and a half of his paddy harvest, he would not be wrong. A sum of about 25 million rupees is being spent on resurveying all the paddy lands in the Mahavali B zone alone in order to provide the farmers with permanent deeds in place of the existing permits. While the provision of permanent deeds to the farmers can be considered as a measure taken for their benefit, it is the farmers' experience that the resurveying is being undertaken in an ad hoc and fraudulent fashion.
A bushel of paddy was given to a relative of the surveyor.
The permits issued to these farmers note that the area of paddy land provided to each farmer under the preliminary plan of the Mahaveli scheme was 2.5 acres. While there were 10 such 2.5 acre plots of land in the section known as Kongela, following the resurveying, 1 or 2 additional plots have been created. The distribution of the newly created plots of land will be undertaken as per the prerogative of the Mahaveli authority.
They are preparing to divide this land for their henchmen. We are suffering. We bought this land with great difficulty. Now they are giving it to an outside party. I have no farmland. What I am left with is a plot of land that is part of a forest reserve.
When the prerogative of officials undertaking the resurveying trumps the positive concept behind deciding to provide farmers with permanent deeds instead of permits, isn't the whole exercise rendered moot? Minister of Irrigation and Water Resource Management, this is over to you.
Will the proposals of the United Bhikkhu Front be implemented? The decision will be made by members of the working committee. Gamini Jayavikrama Pereira, Parliamentarian National List. Kabir Hashim, Parliamentarian, votes 48,822. Harin Fernando, Parliamentarian, votes 49,073. Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Parliamentarian, votes 15,105. Ruan Vijayawardena, Parliamentarian, votes 88,850. Manjushree Arangala, Western Provincial Councillor, votes 37,878. Niroshan Pereira, Parliamentarian, votes 28,077. P. Harrison, Parliamentarian, votes 24,675. Thalathathu Korala, Parliamentarian, votes 64,592. K. Velayudan, Uva Provincial Councillor, votes 14,870.
Another phase of the Kittunumagata Savya program, a brainchild of UMP parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa, was carried out today in Negombo.
I recently heard a minister saying that the casino era was commenced by Premadasa. I wish to remind this minister that at that time he was engaged in terrorism and not in politics. He does not know that it was Premadasa that destroyed the casino and jackpot racket in the country. We can still remember. I wish to ask that minister to go to the library and read up on all the media reports on how my father, Ranasinghe Premadasa, dragged all the jackpot machines onto the main road and then crushed them with a steamroller.
Now, a group of area residents staged a demonstration today claiming that accidents occur constantly on the road from the Pinnadu interchange on the Southern Expressway to the city of Galle.
Area residents staged this demonstration blocking the road of the Pinnadua interchange. Area residents say that several fatal accidents have occurred on the rural road. Our reporter says the protesters dispersed after the police informed them that the problem would be resolved within a month.
Now, in some business news, the Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka points out that core inflation, which captures the underlying long-term trend of inflation, has reached its lowest rate recorded since its introduction in 2007.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka notes that the year-on-year core inflation, which was over 7% during the first 2 months of the year, decelerated to 2.6% in October. The Central Bank adds that the annual average core inflation also moved on a declining path continuously to reach 5.3% in October 2013. A release issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka states that the contribution to the slowdown of the year-on-year co-inflation came mainly from the non-food category, which includes subcategories such as education, health, housing, water, electricity, fuel and transport, which grew only by 1.4%. The central bank notes that the favorable movement in the co-inflation is a reflection of the effectiveness of prudent demand management policies of the central bank.
Now, the issue here is we have been advised by many, including the IMF, the last few weeks, not to reduce interest rates again, meaning not to loosen monetary policy. But the central bank actually ditched that advice a week after it was given and loosen monetary policy again, because you see there's a lack of demand for credit even though interest rates are fairly low. So what the repercussions of this reduction of interest rates on core inflation will be interesting to see, and it's very likely that it will turn around and go back up.
The book titled Entertainment and Broadcasting Law for Sri Lanka, written by Chanakya Jayadeva, was launched in Colombo recently.
They are the first public venture of Chanakya, a lawyer and broadcaster who has also made contributions to several magazines in the past. The book launch turns a spotlight on entertainment law and covers all aspects from television agreements to music, production, film and new media publishing. According to the author, the book carries the intention of educating people on the principles of entertainment law.
And now it's time for the newspaper cartoon of the day.
Tonight on Words of Wisdom, we bring you the thoughts of Chinese philosopher Confucius.
Only the wisest and stupidest of men never change. Confucius.
And as of a short while ago, Australia won 321 for 8 after 43.1 overs, trying to perform an absolutely astonishing chase, and James Faulkner has incidentally scored his maiden test on the one-day 100, which is also the fastest 100 scored by an Australian one-day cricket. And with that, I'm afraid we wrap up the news. I'm Madhush Kabala-Surya.
And I'm Nicola D'Souza. We leave you tonight with a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.